Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're the show that really tries to cut through all the noise and get to what matters on important topics.
Great to be here.
And today, oh boy, are we diving into something huge, a topic that's just completely saturated everything, headlines, social media, probably your own conversations too. Ozempic.
It really is everywhere, isn't it? Hard to avoid.
It is, from, celebrities talking about it to really serious medical chats. It's just captured everyone's attention. But, with all that buzz, it's so easy to get tangled up. There's conflicting info, some pretty wild claims, and just, well, a lot of confusion floating around.
That's very true. The signal-to-noise ratio can be pretty low sometimes.
Exactly. Is it this magic bullet people make it out to be? Is it really the answer for weight loss everyone's looking for? Or is there something, more complicated going on underneath?
Almost certainly the latter.
Right. So our mission today, for you listening, is to peel back those layers. We want to separate the facts from the fiction, cut through the hype, and really explore the actual Ozempic reality.
Yeah, get grounded.
Whether you're just curious, trying to make sense of it all, or maybe even thinking about options for your own health, this deep dive is designed to give you some solid, informed insights. Okay, let's unpack this.
It's definitely a needed conversation because the public curiosity is just immense. You can feel it. And it really shows why we need informed discussion when a medical topic trends this hard, this fast.
Totally.
What's really fascinating here, if you just step back for a second, is watching how a specific prescription drug, right, designed for one thing, how it just transcends that clinical purpose and becomes this huge cultural phenomenon. It almost forces us to look deeper, examine the science, the real-world effects, and look way past the headlines and, the influencer post.
Absolutely. And to really get that, we have to start right at the beginning. Because what a lot of people think they know about Ozempic's origin, well, that story's probably not quite right.
Yeah, the popular narrative isn't the full picture.
There's this common idea that it was engineered from day one purely for weight loss, cooked up in a lab specifically to help people drop pounds.
Right, designed for that purpose.
But the reality, it's way more accidental, actually more interesting, and definitely more medically significant than that.
Indeed. That's a really key misconception to clear up right away. Understanding where it actually came from isn't just trivia. It's fundamental to getting its real role and why all these debates are happening now.
Okay, so let's set that record straight.
Okay.
Its original FDA approval, Ozempic, that's the brand name. The drug itself is semaglutide. It got its first FDA okay back in 2017.
Right.
And here's the kicker, the bit that gets buried. It was not approved for weight loss. Its specific job was treating type 2 diabetes.
Crucial distinction. Absolutely crucial.
It really is. And it gets lost so easily in the noise. Fundamentally, Ozempic is part of this class of drugs called GLP-1 receptor agonists. These were developed, first and foremost, to help people with type 2 diabetes manage their blood sugar. Help their bodies produce insulin better, manage glucose. It's all about mimicking natural body processes for metabolic balance.
Exactly. That was the primary therapeutic target.
But then something happened during the clinical trials for diabetes. Researchers started noticing this, unexpected side effect.
A pretty significant one.
Yeah, really significant. A lot of the patients taking it were losing noticeable amounts of weight and keeping it off. This wasn't the main goal, right? They weren't specifically looking for weight loss as the #1 outcome.
Nope, it was an observation, a secondary finding initially.
But it was just too pronounced to ignore. It was almost like this accidental discovery of another powerful thing this drug could do.
Serendipity in science, you could say.
Totally. And that discovery, that sort of pivot point, really changed the game for semaglutide. So the big question then becomes, if it wasn't made for weight loss initially, how on earth did it get so tangled up with it? How did it become the weight loss drug in so many people's minds?
That's the million-dollar question, and it really explains this kind of dual identity Ozempic has now. The weight loss seen in those diabetes trials, it wasn't just a little bit. It was significant enough that the pharmaceutical companies basically said, whoa, okay, we need to look into this specifically.
Right, they saw the potential.
They absolutely did.
Yeah.
So they took that initial accidental finding and ran with it, specifically exploring semaglutide as an obesity treatment. And that focused research led directly to the development and approval of Wegovy.
Wegovy, okay.
And here's another really important point. Wegovy isn't a totally different drug. It's the same active ingredient, semaglutide, just at a higher dose.
Higher dose, got it.
Yeah, a dose that was specifically studied and then approved by the FDA just for chronic weight management back in 2021. So you have Ozempic still primarily approved for type 2 diabetes,
Right.
and the Wegovy, the higher dose version, which has that direct, explicit FDA green light for weight loss.
Okay, that clears things up a lot. Ozempic for diabetes, Wegovy specifically for weight loss, same core ingredient, different dose.
Exactly. And this distinction leads us straight into this whole concept that's central to the buzz right now, off-label use.
Right, I've heard that term thrown around a lot.
So while Ozempic is legitimately prescribed for type 2 diabetes, you see it being used widely. And yeah, often by celebrities, influencers who talk about it openly purely for weight loss.
Just for the weight loss part.
Correct. That specific use is what we call off-label. It means a doctor is using their judgment to prescribe a drug for something other than its specific FDA-approved purpose.
Is that allowed?
It is legal, and sometimes it's medically appropriate based on clinical judgment, but it has sparked this huge, really complex debate.
I can imagine.
It brings up questions about safety, right? Using a drug outside how it was formally tested. It brings up ethical questions. Should it be used for, say, elective cosmetic reasons when others need it for a serious medical condition?
Yeah, especially if there are shortages.
Precisely. That's a huge part of it. Availability for the diabetic patients who rely on it. So this dual identity, the diabetes drug origin, the unexpected weight loss discovery, leading to the higher dose Wegovy for obesity, you really have to grasp that whole story to understand the current situation. It's not just medicine, it's become a societal issue.
That dual identity framing is so helpful. It's like, yeah, the car can fly, but maybe we should focus on the plane built for flying, especially if people need the car just to drive, right?
That's a pretty good analogy, actually.
So now that we have that context, let's really dig into the how. How does it actually work inside the body? Because this is where the science gets really cool, I think. It's not just suppressing appetite. It's more elegant, mimicking something natural.
It really is quite sophisticated. It represents a big step forward in understanding metabolism. Ozempic works by essentially impersonating a hormone called GLP-1.
GLP-1, okay.
Stands for glucagon-like peptide 1. And this isn't some foreign substance. It's a natural hormone our own gut produces when we eat.
Our body already makes this.
Yes, in response to food. And GLP-1 does a bunch of important things, mostly around regulating appetite and digestion. You can kind of think of it as your body's own built-in slowdown and I'm satisfied signal.
Ah, okay, a natural fullness signal.
Pretty much. It tells your system how to handle the food you just ate and, crucially, when to feel full and stop eating.
That makes sense. So if Ozempic is mimicking that slowdown and satisfaction signal, how exactly does that lead to weight loss? What's it doing specifically?
It's really a combination effect, a kind of triple action power, which is why it tends to be so effective for many people.
Triple action. Okay, what are the three?
Okay, first, and this is a big one, it slows down gastric emptying.
Meaning?
Meaning the food you eat literally stays in your stomach for longer than usual.
Okay, and why does that matter?
Because if your stomach is emptying slowly, it keeps sending those full signals to your brain for a much longer time after you've eaten.
Ah, so you feel satisfied for longer.
Exactly. Which naturally means you probably won't want to eat as much at your next meal, and maybe you won't feel like snacking as much in between.
Yeah.
It combats that quick return of hunger you get with rapid digestion. It's a direct physical way to manage how much you eat.
Okay, that makes sense. Slows the stomach. What's number two?
Number two, it directly targets the brain to reduce appetite signals.
So it talks to the brain too.
Yep, it goes beyond just the physical feeling of fullness in your stomach. It actually interacts with the appetite control centers in your brain, like the hypothalamus, and tells them, hey, we're satisfied here.
That sounds pretty powerful.
It is. It's different from older diet pills that might just amp up your nervous system. This is more about, like, recalibrating your natural hunger cues. It often leads to fewer cravings, especially for those high-calorie foods, and just less desire to eat overall. For people who really struggle with constant hunger or thinking about food all the time, this can be a huge help. It makes managing calories feel less like a battle.
I can see how that would make a massive difference. Okay, stomach, brain. What's the third action?
The third one goes back to its original job. It helps regulate blood sugar.
Right, for diabetes.
Exactly.
Right.
It does this in two ways. It helps your pancreas release more insulin, but only when your blood sugar is actually high, so it avoids making it go too low.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, it's glucose dependent. And it also tells your liver to produce less glucose. Now, while this is key for diabetes, stable blood sugar is also just good for overall metabolic health. Big swings in blood sugar can trigger cravings and affect energy. So stabilizing that, even indirectly, helps with weight management too.
Okay, wow. So it's slowing the stomach, dialing down hunger signals in the brain, and helping keep blood sugar steady.
Precisely. It's not just one thing. It's this combination, this sort of symphony of physiological changes working together.
Symphony, I like that.
And that's why the clinical trials consistently show pretty significant weight loss, right?
Yeah.
Often in the range of 10–15% of body weight over, say, 6 months to a year. It's gradual, but it adds up because it's tackling the problem from multiple angles. If you connect it to the bigger picture, it's using a deep understanding of how our bodies work to nudge things back into a healthier balance for weight.
A symphony of physiological changes that really does capture it well. It changes how you think about weight loss, moving beyond just willpower. But okay, even with that elegant science, the common idea out there is still often quick fix.
The magic bullet narrative.
Yeah. So what does all this mean for someone starting Ozempic and maybe expecting, like, instant results? We really need to challenge that idea, right? It's not a crash diet in a shot.
Absolutely critical to manage expectations. Patience is key. It's a powerful tool, yes, but it supports gradual, sustainable weight loss. It's not an overnight miracle. The typical timeline we see really illustrates this.
Okay, walk us through that typical timeline. What should someone realistically expect?
All right, so in month 1, honestly, usually minimal weight loss, maybe none at all for some people.
Really? Month 1? Not much.
Yeah. This first month is mostly your body just getting used to the medication. It's also when those initial side effects we'll talk about later might pop up. It's an adjustment period, physiologically. And if you're expecting dramatic drops right away, this is where frustration can start.
Okay, good to know. What about after that first month?
Moving into months 2 and 3, that's usually when people start to notice that appetite suppression kicking in more consistently. The symphony starts playing more audibly, you could say.
Right.
Food noise might quiet down, feeling full happens faster and lasts longer. And this generally leads to a more steady, gradual decrease in weight.
Okay, so things start moving more noticeably then.
Generally, yes. Then, the period between months 4 and 6 is often where the most significant weight loss tends to happen for many users.
Why?
By this point, the body's usually more adjusted, the appetite control is well established, the metabolic benefits are humming along. It's when the sustained effort and the drug's effects really compound, leading to more visible results. This is often the phase where people feel really motivated by the progress.
Okay, peak phase, roughly months 4 to 6. What happens after that? Does it just keep going?
Not usually at the same rate.
Yeah.
Beyond 6 months or so, the rate of weight loss typically slows down. It often starts to plateau.
Plateau. Okay. Does that mean it stopped working?
Not necessarily. It just means that the initial, more rapid phase is likely over. Your body might be finding a new equilibrium. And this plateau phase really highlights something crucial.
Which is?
That for keeping the weight off or making any further progress, those lifestyle changes, diet, exercise, become even more important. The medication is still helping, but it can't do it all, especially long-term.
Right. So the drug helps you get there, but lifestyle keeps you there.
That's a great way to put it. We're talking, on average, maybe 15–20 pounds lost in 6 months in trials, which is significant medically. But, and this is a huge, but individual results vary wildly.
Based on what?
Oh, diet quality, how much exercise you're actually doing, your starting weight, your individual metabolism, genetics even. It is definitely not the same journey for everyone. So it's gradual, it's variable, and it really underscores that Ozempic is a tool, not the whole toolkit. It works best as part of a bigger plan.
That focus on variability in the long game is so important. Tool, not magic wand. Okay, so that leads us perfectly into maybe the most critical question for anyone listening. Is it actually right for you? We know it's effective for many, but it's clearly not for everyone. So this really raises the question of suitability. Who should be considering Ozempic, and maybe even more importantly, who absolutely should not?
This is, probably the most vital part of the conversation for anyone personally considering it. And it just hammers home why talking to a doctor is absolutely non-negotiable. That is a serious medical decision, not like picking a new diet trend.
Totally. So who fits the criteria?
Okay. Generally speaking, the primary group is people with type 2 diabetes who need help with blood sugar control, especially if other meds haven't been enough.
Right. Its original purpose.
Exactly. Then for weight management, and remember, this is often where Wegovy, the higher dose, comes in, but sometimes Ozempic is used off-label. It's typically considered for people with a BMI of 30 or higher. That's the medical definition of obesity.
BMI of 30 plus, etc.
Okay. Or it could be for someone with a BMI of 27 or higher if they also have at least one serious weight-related health problem.
Like what?
Things like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, type 2 diabetes itself, certain heart conditions. Basically, health issues made worse by excess weight.
Got it. BMI 27 plus with other health issues.
Correct. And usually, these are folks who've genuinely tried other things, structured diet changes, exercise programs, and haven't been able to achieve the kind of weight loss needed for their health. It's intended for a significant medical need, ideally, not just losing a few vanity pounds. And that distinction often gets blurred in the public conversation.
Yeah, I can see that. Okay, so that's who might consider it, who definitely should, who needs to avoid it.
Right, the contraindications, these are really important. First off, people with type 1 diabetes. The drug just doesn't work for that condition.
Okay, type 1s are out.
Also, anyone with a history of severe stomach or intestinal problems, like gastroparesis, where the stomach empties too slowly already, or maybe severe inflammatory bowel disease, the drug could make those worse.
Makes sense, given the slowed emptying effect.
Exactly. Then critically, anyone with a personal or family history of certain rare thyroid cancers, specifically medullary thyroid carcinoma, MTC, or a condition called multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2, MEN2.
Wow, specific. Why those?
Because studies in rats showed a potential link. So out of extreme caution, it's avoided in people with that specific risk profile, even though a direct link in humans hasn't been proven. Better safe than sorry.
Definitely. Any others?
Yes, a history of pancreatitis inflammation of the pancreas. The drug carries a small risk of causing this, so if you've had it before, it's generally not recommended.
Okay. Pancreas issues.
And, very importantly, pregnant or breastfeeding women. It's strongly advised against, because the effects on the baby aren't known and could be harmful.
Right, makes total sense.
So the bottom line, the absolute take-home message here, you must have a thorough discussion with a qualified healthcare provider before even thinking about starting Ozempic. They need to review your entire health history, weigh the risks and benefits for you, and decide if it's safe and appropriate. It cannot be a decision based on what you see online or what a friend is doing. It has to be medical.
That's crystal clear. A serious medication needs serious medical consideration. All right? And like any powerful medication that changes things in your body, it's not all smooth sailing, right? There are downsides. Let's unpack the side effects. Every effective drug has them, Ozempic included. People need to know what they might be getting into.
Absolutely. Being prepared for potential side effects is crucial.
So what are the common things people report? And then are there rarer but more serious things to watch out for?
Great question. Let's break it down. The common side effects are mostly related to the digestive system, and they tend to show up most often in the first few weeks or maybe months while your body is adjusting.
Okay, digestive stuff mostly.
Yeah. By far the most common one is nausea, feeling sick to your stomach. A lot of people experience this to some degree, from mild wave to feeling pretty rough.
Nausea, got it. What else?
Diarrhea or conversely constipation are also pretty common. And some people report feeling bloated, having more gas, maybe some mild stomach pain or cramping.
So general gut disruption.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Outside of the gut, some people also feel unusual fatigue or tiredness, especially early on, and sometimes dizziness.
Okay. That sounds unpleasant, but maybe manageable. Does it last?
That's the key thing. For a lot of users, maybe even most, these common symptoms tend to get much better or even go away completely after the first few weeks or months.
Ah, so it's an adjustment phase.
Exactly. The body adapts. And there are ways to manage them, starting with a low dose and increasing slowly, maybe taking the shot at night, eating smaller meals, avoiding really fatty or spicy foods. But it's also true that for some folks, the nausea or digestive issues might stick around longer term.
So talk to your doctor if they don't improve.
Absolutely. Continuous communication is vital. They can help troubleshoot, maybe adjust the dose, or suggest other ways to cope.
Okay, so those are the common, often temporary ones. What about the serious risks? The ones people really need to be aware of?
Right. These are much rarer, but definitely serious and need immediate medical attention if they happen. One is pancreatitis.
We mentioned that history being a reason to avoid it.
Yes, because the drug itself carries a small risk of causing it. It's a severe inflammation of the pancreas. Very painful. Symptoms would be like intense stomach pain, maybe radiating to your back, often with vomiting.
Okay, pancreatitis. What else?
Gallbladder problems like gallstones or inflammation. Rapid weight loss itself can sometimes trigger these, but GLP-1 drugs have also been linked. This might show up as sudden severe pain in the upper right part of your belly.
Gallbladder issues, got it.
Also, potential kidney problems or making existing kidney disease worse. This seems more likely if someone gets severely dehydrated from, say, persistent vomiting or diarrhea caused by the drug.
Dehydration risk.
And remember that potential thyroid tumor risk, the MTC, although mainly seen in rodent studies, it leads to the warning for people with that specific family history.
Okay. So if someone experiences symptoms like really severe stomach pain, nonstop vomiting, yellow skin or eyes, significant changes in urination,
call the doctor immediately. Or go to the ER. Don't try to tough out potentially serious side effects. It's fascinating, in a way, how the body adapts, but you have to be vigilant for those rare times when something more serious is happening. Balancing, knowing the common stuff might happen with watching for the rare danger signs is key.
That's a really clear and helpful distinction. Manageable, common stuff versus urgent, serious stuff. Okay. Now, here's where it gets really interesting and, frankly, a bit worrying for a lot of people using it or thinking about it. It hits on maybe the biggest question hanging over Ozempic. What happens when you stop taking it? There's so much talk, so much anxiety about gaining the weight back, the sustainability challenge.
This is a huge, huge point, and the evidence on this is pretty clear now. The basic issue is tied right back to how the drug works.
Because it suppresses appetite.
Exactly. It's actively changing those hunger and fullness signals, slowing your stomach. When you take the drug away, those effects stop. Your baseline hunger often comes back, maybe even stronger for a while as your body readjusts.
The body pushes back.
Kind of, yeah. Homeostasis. Without the drug's help, it's very easy to start eating more again, and the weight often comes back on.
Is there solid proof of this, like studies?
Oh, yeah. There's a really important study in 2022 published in the major journal Diabetes, Obesity, and Metabolism. It tracked people after they stopped taking semaglutide.
And what did it find?
The results were pretty striking. Within just 1 year of stopping the drug, participants had regained, on average, about 2/3 the weight they had lost while taking it.
2/3 in a year. Wow.
Yeah. It's a powerful statistic. It really drives home the point that Ozempic isn't a cure for obesity. It's a management tool. Like high blood pressure meds, you stop taking them, your blood pressure likely goes back up.
So it needs ongoing use or something else.
Something else. The study also found that the benefits to blood sugar, blood pressure, cholesterol often reverse too after stopping. It reinforces that idea of ongoing management.
Okay, so if it's not a cure and stopping leads to regain for many, what can people do? How do you avoid gaining it all back?
This is where the hard work really comes in, beyond the medication. First, you absolutely have to make deep, sustainable, long-term changes to your diet. Not just while on the drug, but habits you can stick with forever. Focusing on protein, fiber, whole foods, things that naturally help with fullness.
Diet is key.
Regular, consistent exercise. It's not just about burning calories. It's crucial for maintaining muscle mass, especially during and after weight loss. Muscle keeps your metabolism higher.
Keep the muscle, boost metabolism. Makes sense.
And maybe the most important piece for long-term success, working closely with your healthcare team, doctor, dietitian, maybe a therapist, to create a personalized plan that goes beyond the medication phase. You need ongoing support, strategies for handling cravings, managing triggers, building those lifelong habits.
A whole support system.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Connecting this back to the bigger picture, the evidence is clear. Ozempic can be transformative to lose the weight, but maintaining that loss almost always requires those fundamental lifestyle changes to become permanent. The drug gives you a window, maybe, to build those habits more easily, but the habits have to stick.
That 2022 study really highlights the challenge. It's powerful, but not a standalone fix. Okay, let's zoom out now. What does all this mean for society? Beyond just the person taking the pill or injection, because the massive popularity of Ozempic has caused ripples everywhere, right? Shortages, ethical fights, the whole social media effect.
Oh, absolutely. The individual journey very quickly became a major societal phenomenon with really significant knock-on effects. We absolutely need to talk about those.
Like the shortages, that seemed like a huge issue.
It was, and in some places still is. The demand-driven shortages were a direct result of that explosion in off-label use for weight loss. The demand just vastly outstripped the supply chain's capacity, especially early on.
So people who needed it for diabetes couldn't get it.
Yep. Exactly. In 2023, the FDA even formally announced intermittent shortages. And that created a really difficult, ethically fraught situation. People who genuinely relied on Ozempic for managing their diabetes were struggling to fill their prescriptions because it was being diverted essentially for weight loss. That raises huge questions about equitable access.
Yeah, that's tough. Who gets priority?
Precisely. And that feeds directly into the broader ethical debate. It's not just Ozempic now, it's Wegovy. It's the newer drugs like Mounjaro or Zepbound, which is tirzepatide, specifically for weight loss. All these highly effective drugs are forcing a conversation.
About what, mainly?
About resource allocation and medical need. Should these powerful drugs, which offer real benefits for serious diseases like diabetes and clinical obesity, be primarily reserved for those conditions, or is using them for, say, cosmetic weight loss also of valid use, even if it impacts availability or drives up costs?
No easy answers there.
None at all. You have doctors, ethicists, insurance companies, policymakers, patients, all weighing in. How do we define medical necessity versus elective enhancement? What about the high cost and who pays for it long term? It's putting enormous pressure on healthcare systems and budgets.
And then there's the social media factor.
Ugh, yes, social media glorification. Platforms like TikTok, Instagram, they often portray Ozempic or similar drugs as this easy button, this quick fix for a perfect body.
The Ozempic face thing and all that.
Exactly. And that narrative is just so different from the reality of it being a serious prescription drug with real risks needing medical oversight. We spent all this time talking about side effects, who shouldn't take it, the rebound effect.
Right, none of that makes the highlight reel usually.
Not often enough. That instant transformation story can be so misleading, maybe even dangerous. It sets unrealistic expectations, fuels body image issues, and can encourage people to seek it out improperly without a doctor's guidance. It really raises a big question about our collective responsibility, how we talk about these powerful tools, ensuring medical need isn't drowned out by elective desires or trends. We need better media literacy around this stuff.
Those are huge societal questions, way beyond just one person's health. Okay, let's try and wrap this up, bring it all together. Key takeaways from this deep dive. Ozempic, semaglutide, it clearly works for weight loss. The science is there.
Yep, effective.
BUT. It is absolutely not a miracle drug, not in the way it's often hyped up to be. It's a powerful tool, yes, but a complex one.
Comes with caveats.
Big ones. We learned it works best, and it's medically intended for people meeting specific medical criteria, type 2 diabetes, or obesity overweight with related health issues, not for losing those last 5 pounds.
Right, specific indications.
And it demands a long-term commitment. If you stop without locking in those lifestyle changes, that risk of regaining the weight is very real, backed by studies.
The rebound effect is significant.
We also covered the common side effects, mostly gut-related, that many people experience, plus those rare but serious risks that need immediate attention.
Know the risks, common and rare.
So my final strongest recommendation to you listening.
Aye.
Before you even think about Ozempic, Wegovy, any of these drugs, please talk to your doctor, have a real in-depth conversation.
Absolutely essential. Non-negotiable first step.
Is it right for your health, your history, your goals? And always, always look at the foundations first. Sustainable diet changes, regular exercise, maybe behavioral support. These aren't just alternatives. They're the bedrock of health, whether you use medication or not.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
And maybe a final thought to leave everyone with, something that kind of sums it all up and goes beyond just this one drug.
Yeah.
The real key to sustainable health, sustainable weight management. It isn't just finding the right medication. It's building healthy habits that can truly last a lifetime.
Habits that stick.
Exactly. So I'd encourage you listening to maybe reflect on what healthy habits really mean for you. Not what some influencer says, but what works in your life. How can you weave them in, realistically, sustainably, maybe even joyfully, regardless of whether medication is involved? That deeper question, I think, is where lasting wellness really lies.
That's a fantastic point to end on. Focus on those lifelong habits.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive, for being curious and wanting to understand this complex topic.
Absolutely. Thank you all for tuning in, for wanting to be informed. Keep learning, keep asking questions, and we'll catch you next time on The Deep Dive.